What's up, friends? Welcome to my channel where we're doing music covers, original music, album reviews, song reviews, a little social commentary here and there, whatever the day calls for. If you like what you see here, please subscribe to the channel. If you have content on here, I will subscribe to you as well. I am all about supporting up-and-comers on here. Today we are going to be doing an album review for the brand new self-titled Rings of Saturn album. Rings of Saturn are a technical death metal band that formed in 2009 as the brainchild of one Lucas Mann that eventually became a full band and have released several albums. And I'm not very familiar with a lot of those albums. I know what their general sound has been. And when I was very much into the one-man band Buried Alive, I heard that he was going to be a guest in one of the songs on their last album, which I think is called Get Him or Gedim. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. But that track, I think it was called Pustules. These guys and these words, man. If I'm sure, I bet you I'm saying them all wrong. But that song was really, really good. I really liked that, and it got me to check out the rest of that album, and I enjoyed it too. I didn't go back to it a whole ton, but I did give it a few listens. It's a great album to listen to while doing some housework and stuff. There was some very impressive stuff on that album. Um, I've heard over the years, just from being online and stuff, that Lucas Mann is a hard musician to work with. I don't know what that means necessarily, but he does get some criticism. He gets criticism, kind of like how Michael Keane from The Faceless gets a lot of criticism for being hard to work with. Like I said, in the scope of like a signed band, I don't know like what that means. If that means that he's just very strict with his vision of what he wants to do, or if that just means that he's a dick, or what that means. I mean, there's a lot of really dedicated musicians out there that have been considered hard to work with, and I don't know the guy, so I don't know. But when it comes to Michael Keane from The Faceless, he authored Akeldama and Planetary Duality, one of the two of the best deathcore records I've ever heard. I actually have on pre-order the uh, the 15th anniversary vinyl for Akeldama. It is such a good album, and it really paved the way for a lot of my influences. It's good stuff. But apparently, because of these inner conflicts in Rings of Saturn with Lucas Mann, their longtime vocalist left, and they don't have a drummer on this thing either. And they did not bother to replace any of those members. They have programmed drums on this and no vocals. And their vocalist was pretty good. I didn't dislike him in any way, but vocals weren't really at the forefront of what I focus on when I was listening to their last album. So, I thought, hey, they could work as an instrumental band. This album drops, and it is met with a lot of negative feedback. A lot. I sat down and listened to this album, and am I going to be the contrarian that gives this album a rave review and does not see the criticism of this album that people are saying? No, man. No. This album is a huge step down from the last one for so many reasons. I actually, like, when I was taking notes, I had to do this in 2 separate days because I just kept losing interest. And we'll talk about that at the end. Let's get into the track by track. This is a 7-track half-hour album, and it kicks off with Shrine, and it starts off with some electronic noise to lead into like what's going to come in, as many albums do. You can't fault them for that. But when it does kick in, it doesn't kick in from a production standpoint. It's like almost the same volume, and that doesn't really get you pumped up for what's coming. And what does come in, like as far as the composition, It was pretty good, but then it goes into an electronic carnival sounding part that reminds me of Buried Alive, and it's very boring, and that is going to be a recurring theme in this album. It is so bogged down with these forced, corny, carnival sounding electronic things that it almost seems like there's more of that in this album than actual like full the sound of a full band playing. And when the sound of a full band playing is here, it sounds so copy and paste, so overproduced. Like I get that the drums are programmed, but it sounds so inhuman. The guitars are not inhuman. People are playing them, but the production makes everything just sound super fake. And I don't like that. But long story short, on this track, the metal parts were all good as far as like the composition. Um, and it repeats again, and that is the highlight of the song, like the main section of riffs that come in there. But the structuring of the song was irritatingly jarring. The electronic parts were extremely boring, and the way this song was written just was kind of irritating to me. So yeah, number two, Cronus. It's got a good electronic with guitar intro, and it stays good when it gets heavy. We finally settle on a groove that sticks around long enough to get into it, and you don't see a lot of that either. The songwriting is so all over the place that it's hard to really get into anything. But this groove is a good one. It's got some great atmospherics. The tempo changes are good, and we're led into a really good breakdown. And if the song had ended there, I would have nothing to say about this song, but it leads next into one of these overlong cheeseball section of electronic trap beats with the carnival vibes that finishes out the song and shoots what was going to be an amazing song right in the foot. Number three, Ascending. This song has an interesting start, which I would have dug if it was leading into something with a full band playing. And that does happen way later, but by the time it does come in, it's like you're just kind of irritated. Like, the intro is too long. And then, yeah, like certain sounds in these electronic parts, there's like certain sounds that are way too loud in the mix, and that makes it really irritating too. And just the over focus on these electronic trap beats and parts is not helping this album. This song did not know when to end, and it started to irritate me after a while. Number four, Genesis. This song was completely electronic and was the first one on the album to be pretty good from start to finish and didn't overstay its welcome. There's a lot of cool parts to be found here, and so far in the album, this is the best song. Number five, Mind Palace. This is yet another song that showed some promise, but gets bogged down in an awkward, unnecessary electronic carnival sounding bit. Then the heavy part comes back and the song abruptly ends. It's like it's just for no reason. The songwriting on this track is very poor, very all over the place. It just really seems like the full band playing parts are just so short. Number six, Sector 80. It's a completely pointless track that's maybe 15 seconds long. Like, what is this album? Number seven, Shinigami. There's very cool atmosphere in this song. Nice chugging rhythms and impressive leads that sound very good. There's really nothing I can say bad about this song. It's got some nice retro video game vibes in it. Like this, the fact that they waited this long to give you like a perfect song, it's just that's even kind of irritating. So, I mean, I just from a songwriting standpoint, there is very little to no cohesiveness. The electronic parts are just not working in this band, and I hope it doesn't become a staple of what they do moving forward. Like I don't know. I don't know if this was just the result of these members leaving, but I kind of gotta agree with the consensus on this album. I don't think it's very good. I think it has good parts in it that get bogged down by stupid shit. And I'll probably not listen to this again. And Yeah, Genesis and Shinigami are the only songs that don't get bogged down by something stupid. So, I mean, unfortunately, I gotta give this, just because it has no replayability and stuff, it would be easy to give this a 3 out of 10, but out of the sake of being positive, there are some cool parts in this song, and Shinigami is really good, so I'll give it a 4.5, which is a pretty low rating for me, but I just don't think this album is very good. And the album art, the cover of the album, I mean, these guys are known for having some pretty intricate, cool looking album covers. This one is just super cartoony and very cheap looking. And yeah, I didn't really like it, so I'll give it a 4.5 out of 10. I hope these guys do better next time. I really don't have much else to say about this. Thanks for watching.